On to step 7. Okay, we're going to build some turnbuckles. Very easy to do. We are going to use the little ends that are labeled part 1. You want to be sure that you use the part 1s instead of the, or is actually part 3, I'm sorry. Part 3 instead of part 2s. These are for shocks and they're shorter. So we're going to want to make sure we use the longer ones. We're also going to need the little swivel balls here. They look on my fat fingers have trouble getting them off there, but unmistakable parts tree. We're going to now grab our turnbuckles and put the ends on. What you're going to want to do is measure 40 millimeters from inside to inside when you get the ends on. It's pretty straightforward. This is a live part. It's 1-to-1. And I always like to put just a tad bit of grease on the end of the turnbuckles. And you need to remember that one end turns one way and one end turns the other way. It's a left-handed thread. So we're going to get this together, figure out which way it goes on. There we go. Can hold on to this with a pair of pliers. Go ahead and thread that on a fair amount of the way. Some people like to stick a screwdriver in there and it makes it easier to turn. I don't like to do that because I found that it can enlarge that hole a little bit and your ends can fall out. So I just do it by hand, a little bit of grease on there. You want to make sure that when you're putting them on that you get both ends about the same distance from the center. You don't want one to go all the way in and one to go less. So try to get them as even as possible. And then at this point, move our grease. Let's go ahead and measure this. Oh wow, look at that. Almost perfect inside. How's that? Once that's done, we're going to put our little ends on. A lot of times you can just set them down, push, and they snap on. We'll show you that on camera this time. Put that little puppy down on top like that and just press down, and it'll snap in. Let's go ahead and repeat the process for the second one. Alright, we've gotten both sets built. This is what they look like. They're both the same. Take a look here and you're going to see that there's a little ridge that is offset on the turnbuckle. Just keep note of that because we're going to mention that here in a minute, and it's going to be the same way on both of them. So keep an eye on that. If you don't know what they're for, you're going to find out. Let's take our assembly that we were just working on with our A-arms and let's put it in the same orientation that's in direction 7, which is like so. And we're going to, at this point, make sure that our cup is inserted. And also that our dog bone is inserted. We're going to be fumbling with that a little bit here. Okay, let's grab one of our turnbuckles and we're going to take a look at the little line that's on here that we talked about just a minute ago. We're going to face that to our left as we put this on. And we're going to grab one of the screws here. By looking at the picture, they're not doing too much justice about which one is a machine screw and which one is self-tapping. So we're going to take the self-tapping screw, which has the thicker threads on them here, and that is going to go on the knuckle side. And according to this, we're going to put this through the outside hole. You can see that there's two holes here, one on the inside, one on the outside. Going to take the little line here, make sure it's pointing to the outside. We're going to drop this down in here and use the self-tapping screw from the thin portion to the thicker portion. So it threads into the thicker portion. Just tighten that up. Just want to screw it in until it touches. Now we're going to use a machine screw. Let's make sure your dog bone is set in properly on both the inside and the outside. And now we're going to put this unit on, and it's going to go to the front, and we're going to use a machine screw and slide the machine screw in, and it looks like it is on the bottom inside. No, let's take a look again. It's going to be on the top inside hole. Let's take a look at that again. There's 4 holes here. It's going to go on the top inside hole. You want to make sure your cup is set properly. Everything seems to want to be coming apart here on me. The bearing's popping out and the cup is popping out, so we're going to reset that. Going to reset our dog bone. Go ahead and put this in. Slide the screw through. You can see here. Then we're going to put the nut on. Camera into porn position so you can see. That's why it's so hard for me to put it on. There we go. We'll use our handy dandy little driver that came with the kit. We'll tighten this down. Again, it's a nylock nut. Tighten it down till it touches, and that's it. And now we should have an A-arm with a dog bone in it that doesn't bind up. We'll go ahead and repeat the process on the other side. Now, on the other side, remember we have this little line pointed to the outside. We're going to point this line on this one to the inside. The reason being now is that when you go to tighten these, which is adjusts your suspension angle, you can turn them both to the back, and it's going to adjust it out. You can turn them, and that's on either side. If you were to have both lines to the outside, you'd have to adjust one way and one the other way to get the same result. So that's why we do it like that. Just going to hurry up and go ahead and put this one together. Again, we're going to double check. This one is going to the outside. See, and I'm trying to put it towards the inside. So far there's been some indiscrepancies in the directions, but it's been so far a pleasure to build the kit. You get this many moving pieces and parts and directions and whatnot, and you're going to have some difficulty or even reader difficulty trying to interpret them because everybody thinks differently. So we're having fun. It looks like I grabbed the wrong screw. This one is poking through too far, so I actually grabbed the wrong screw. So we'll try this one more time using the shorter screw. Good tune. Okay, gonna make sure our cup is in. sure the bone is in. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and tie this all together. We're going to the inside upper corner. And a knot. There we go. Screw it until it touches. Alright, there we are. Everything should be fully functional, no binding. Check it all out. Make sure it's all good. And that brings us all the way through step number 7. On to step number 8. More forward progress. We opened another bag. So open up your bag C, get your parts out. A lot of this is just revisiting what we did on the front, just a little bit different. So we're going to whip through this pretty darn quick. We're going to take our diff portion and place it here. Let's take a look at the direction of our gear over here. So as we're holding this one in this direction, the gear is going to go to the left-hand side as we put it in. Pop that in, make sure that there's no binding going on. Then we're going to put on the rear portion of the case. Slide that together. We're going to use the 2 beveled screws that are in the kit to hold the case halves together. I'm going to go answer my phone. I'll be right back. Alright, back to our regular scheduled programming here. We got 1 beveled screw in. That little puppy went in right there to hold the case together. The second one's going over here. Again, this is a revisit of pretty much the same as what we did on the front. Except for before I put this on, I forgot to put grease on the gear, but I actually didn't forget. We're going to put it in from the bottom this time a little bit later on because I ended up getting grease all over everything. Let's go ahead now that that is screwed on and make sure that there's no binding going on. At this point we're going to put on the shock tower. Let's take a look at the shock tower. You're going to see that there is a beveled area here, and that is going to go towards the outside. So as we hold this, look at the directions. This is going to go in the down direction. Just like so. And we're going to use the 2 button head screws. Actually, there should be 4 of them. I guess I should get 2 more out of my little screw holder area here on my cow mat. There we go. Let's go ahead and put this together. And that's going to complete step number 8. Just want to put them in until they touch. There's also, I'm gathering by looking here, an optional aluminum part that you can use. If you want to upgrade just for the sake of upgrading, you can do that, or you can wait and see if there's an issue with it and something breaks, and then you can upgrade at that point. I'm not a big fan of just throwing aluminum at everything right away, but some people really like it. Okay. We are all screwed in, and we have step number 8 complete, minus the grease. We won't forget that, but I just don't want to put that on now because I got grease all over everything with the front one. Okay.